agentic AI, and you never know these things like two agents talking to each other and solving the problem. You may not need UI, right? Testing might be automatically done, right? So a lot of changes that can happen from an engineering perspective, and there's no limit to these, right? I think as engineers and leaders, we have to lose control to these things and then improvise and actually be innovative every day. That is how I look at all these.
Hi, you're watching The Mainstream. I'm Simran Shiwalkar, your host for today, and this is the 4th edition of the Digital Native Nexus 2026 happening in Bengaluru. I'm joined by Mr. Navin Kumar. He is the VP for Engineering at LeadSquared. Mr. Navin, thank you so much for joining us today, and how has your experience been?
Yeah, the experience over the last 25 years has been around digital transformation, first with cloud, AWS, GCP and others. And then now recently with AI, more recently Agentic AI. So a lot of transformation in progress, and from an engineering SDLC mechanism, I think there's a lot of throughput that's being achieved, and then you can build something pretty fast. But at the same time, I think the velocity of the code that you produce needs to be guardrailed with the right boundaries, security, compliance. And it's like driving a Tesla car, and 1% chance of accidents needs to be prevented, especially in enterprise. Like smaller firms might be okay, but enterprises need to have a lot of guardrails. So that is what needs to be kind of planned when you adopt all these things. But agentic AI, and you never know these things like two agents talking to each other and solving the problem. You may not need UI, right? Testing might be automatically done, right? So a lot of changes that can happen from an engineering perspective, and there's no limit to these, right? I think as engineers and leaders, we have to lose control to these things and then improvise and actually be innovative every day. That is how I look at all these.
Superb. And like you said, cloud AI, agentic AI, what is going to be the next defining phase for digital natives today, especially in India? What is going to be next for them?
Right. I think while we can solve all the scaling problems and a lot of situations which are India facing, that can be solved. But I think the real challenge would be kind of controlling these agentic AIs, which will be probably operating everywhere.
Right.
In a way that they can be constructed for the right business use case, right? So with all the data and sitting over it, and then the AI on top of it, you can literally connect dots from an insurance to a loan to everything in a single enterprise, and really build solutions on the fly for consumers and enterprises alike very swiftly.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm very worried about the security and these things, because you can easily be hacked and code is now literally floating everywhere. I think there'll be ideas and creativity will fall in line. Plain view coding and all these things will probably be very, very commoditized, right? So I think the whole scale of these things will be to create and solve problems at scale very swiftly. You'll see a lot of apps being built, vibe coding and all these things will happen, but some of it will just be a froth and go off. But people who can really tap into this and build something really tangible for human at large, and technology in particular, I think businesses could be healthcare, it could be treatment, cancer treatment and other things, right? And then it could be something space Ellen is doing, right? And there are a lot of things that can be explored now which were unexplored. Age of humans, can you research enough to actually increase the age drastically? So there are a lot of open avenues. It's just the share of our mind how we can explore. So that is what I would look at. So it's like every individual now, you don't need to be a junior, you don't need to be, boundaries are crossed. Child probably at 9 years of age can build something pretty fast, which is useful. The other thing that can happen pretty fast is the knowledge democratization, right? Anybody can learn anything and build. And with all these smartphones, content that we see, people wasting time on all these videos and shorts, I think they should invest real good time to build something tangible. That's where, because the content will now be everywhere. It was already, I'm already loaded with a lot of content, all of us are. But I think the real question is, should we control this and produce something tangible and useful? Entertainment should be less, it should be more productive content.
Absolutely. It has to be relevance over virality. And thank you so much for sharing that perspective with us. Lastly, I want to understand from you, with, in a hyper digitally active era, how do you think platforms like Digital Native Nexus, the summit that happened today, kind of, provide platform bringing together a lot of leaders under one roof? How relevant do you think these summits are?
I think these are very relevant. I have been attending some, not these kind specifically, but some of like last 1 month, I have taken some time out to, and it's very kind of, I'm personally interested in what the industry is doing, because it's like an open Pandora box in everybody's hands, right? And now who's doing what, and some people have evolved it, some saw it coming, they have built ahead of of time. Some are actually application. In India, people are actually using it. Nobody is building the LLMs and all, right? So probably Sarvam and all is there, but largely people are trying to make sense of what is coming, and the rate of change is so high that this is kind of moving very fast. So I think getting to know what the industry and leaders are looking into and solving problems for gives you a lot of understanding and knowledge, right? So it's almost like in a company, you're kind of disseminating a lot of content. So more I kind of participate in these things, I think these forums are very good for us to kind of have a platform where people can exchange views, ideas, and implement certain things. And there are networking opportunities, of course. These kind of things are very powerful.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Naveen, for sharing this, for sharing your feedback with us and sharing your experience with us. Well, I certainly look forward to connect with you again.
Same here. Nice talking to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.